Welcome to another story made by Oracle 1. The day the screens went dark. It started on an ordinary Thursday, the sort of day so mundane it would slip past most without a second glance. But for the billions tethered to the late morning's routine, scrolling through news feeds, responding to emails, checking messages, it became the day when the world paused, blinked, and changed irrevocably. At precisely 10:24 a.m. Coordinated Universal Time, it happened. Screens everywhere flickered once, like a terminal shiver of a vast electronic being. Then darkness. Tablets, smartphones, laptops, televisions, all went dead. The glow of pixels was extinguished globally with the precision of a perfectly timed blackout, as if some cosmic hand had flipped the switch. But this blackout was unlike any other. Instead of panic, confusion, or chaos, what followed was a strange and compelling phenomenon. Where screens had once delivered data streams, now there were visions. People saw images flickering and shimmering in the void where pixels should have been. Not images appearing on the display, but projected onto their minds. Tangible yet intangible, a silent orchestra playing on a stage inside the cerebral theater. The world was plunged into a surreal twilight. Dr. Mara Donovan, a leading cognitive neuroscientist specializing in sensory perception and augmented reality in Cambridge, Massachusetts, first encountered the phenomenon while monitoring a failing server in her lab. Her dual monitors went black and then exploded into visions. Whispers of entities, holographic star maps, bidding hands reaching from the void, celestial landscapes swirling with subatomic color. She blinked hard, rubbing her eyes. She was not dreaming. Around her, her team and friends reported the same experiences. Screens had died, but sight had become psychic. The news of the global blackout spread swiftly, yet no network remained to carry it. Social media was useless. Internet-dependent devices were rendered bricks. Radio and old-fashioned telephony survived but struggled under the burden of a world suddenly reliant on analog and voice communication. Governments and scientists scrambled. Cybersecurity teams frantically tried to ascertain the cause of the blackout, which bore no signs of malware, electromagnetic pulse, or physical sabotage. Satellites were unaffected, yet navigation systems reliant on screen data also failed to function visually. Only audio remained, and even that was cluttered with noise as the digital world gasped and died. But the visions persisted and grew. No one understood what these visions meant. Some saw ancient civilizations, lost technologies, memories not their own. Others beheld vast cosmic panoramas, stars forming and exploding, nebulae blooming like orchids in the void. A few caught glimpses of strange beings, neither human nor machine, who gestured in slow, deliberate communication. Among the public, reactions diverged. Skeptics dismissed it as mass hysteria or hallucination. Religious groups interpreted the visions as divine messages, calling it the dawning of a spiritual awakening. Tech experts assumed it was some unprecedented glitch in human perception induced by whatever had disabled the electronics. Weeks passed. The visions did not fade. For many, they became addictive, even addictive in a way screens never were. Daily life shifted. No longer tethered to the glow of devices, humanity began to engage with this new medium, the mind as a receiver and a projector of the unseen, the subconscious collaborating with the cosmos' unknown designs. Within this fractured reality, Dr. Donovan formed an informal consortium of scientists, neurologists, and visionaries to study and perhaps decode the vision's origins and intentions. They named themselves the Veil Watchers. The consortium's initial experiments were rudimentary. Using EEG monitors, brainwave mapping, and sensory deprivation tanks, they tried to isolate vision triggers. Patients volunteered to have their dream states analyzed. Data revealed that the visions appeared to originate neither externally nor purely internally, but in a locus of strange quantum activity within the brain's temporal lobe. The sensors picked up unusual bursts of entangled neuronal activity accompanied by an increase in gamma waves. From this, a hypothesis emerged. The visions were a form of quantum holography, a snapshot of a higher dimensional reality seeping into three-dimensional consciousness. If the screens, our porous glass gateways to digital information, had collapsed, and the optics of light-based pixels surrendered to the void, then perhaps a different channel, a non-physical interface, had opened. The mind, as both a quantum entity and a biological computer, began to receive transmissions from beyond the confines of the material world as we knew it. But where, and why? In one of her solitary sessions, Dr. Donovan asked the question aloud within the isolation chamber. "Who are you? What do you want?" The response was immediate. A vision burst forth unlike any other she had witnessed. A vast archive of light unfolded, a library of knowledge vast beyond human comprehension. It showed her scenes of past civilizations rising and falling, information encoded in symbols spanning gens of time. She saw herself walking corridors lined with sentient data, witnessing the creation of stars, the death of galaxies, the birth of consciousness. It was overwhelming and transformative. When she emerged, she knew the blackout was more than a technological failure. It was a gateway, a signal, a message, and a challenge. Meanwhile, across the globe, the world was reorganizing itself. With screens dark and digital communications lost, communities found themselves forced into direct interaction. Face-to-face conversations returned. The hunger for storytelling, for shared human experience without the barrier of glass and software, thrived. The visions, however, remained inscrutable and personal. Not everyone experienced the same visions, and those who did often kept details secret, fearing disbelief or madness. A growing number reported visions that predicted future events or revealed hidden truths about themselves. Small groups formed around these prophets, people who could interpret the visions directly and guide others. Societal structures began to change, blending technology's loss with a resurgence of mysticism and old wisdom. Governments attempted to restore digital infrastructure but failed. They simply could not recreate the lost connection. The old internet was dead, replaced by an intangible ether woven into human consciousness itself. 1 year after the blackout, now known as the darkening, there was a seismic event that resonated through the collective mind. At 5:43 a.m. Coordinated Universal Time, the entire world's population shared a unified vision simultaneously, a cosmic entity, immense and radiant, kneeling before a star so bright it threatened to consume the vision itself. The figure spoke silently in a telepathic wave that flooded every mind, conveying a simple but profound message. You are the bridge. The matrix of light and matter has shifted. To progress, you must choose, to return to your vanished screens and cold machines, or to awaken fully to the new synthesis of mind and the cosmos. Panic and awe erupted worldwide. Caught between the desire to return to their old lifeways and the beckoning call of a new existence, humanity faced a crossroads. Dr. Donovan convened the Veil Watchers to discuss the phenomenon. This vision, she said, is a declaration and an invitation. We can attempt to recreate the lost digital world, but we should ask ourselves if that is truly where our future lies. Perhaps the blackout was not just a failure, but an evolution. The visions are not hallucinations or glitches. They are templates, blueprints of what is possible when the human mind awakens to its quantum nature. Some members of the consortium cautioned prudence. We must not abandon science and technology, argued Dr. Kato Shin, a physicist from Tokyo. Maybe these are fragments of something larger, Perhaps neural interference or cosmic radiation. We had to gather more data before drawing conclusions. Yet the allure of the visions was undeniable. Individuals reported the ability to create mini-visions, manifesting small objects or events in the mind's eye that would then happen in reality. The power of intention and thought became a resource that rivaled and eventually superseded electronic information. Societies realigned themselves around these phenomena. Education emphasized mental discipline, meditation, quantum cognition. Technologies shifted focus, from circuits and silicon, to neuro-interface devices designed to enhance and focus the mind's new perceptual capabilities. Entire cities transformed. Luminous towers that had once been network hubs became temples of perception. Players of ancient games taught the young how to navigate the visions safely. Languages evolved to describe sensations and images beyond physical senses. A new era dawned on Earth. Yet not all embraced this transformation. Among a faction known as the Restorationists, people yearning for the tangible reliability of screens and machines worked feverishly to restore the old ways. They built isolated enclaves powered by analog systems, hoping to preserve the final embers of a world consumed by the quantum veil. These tensions led to societal schisms. The Veilwalkers sought harmony between progress and preservation, urging a symbiotic relationship between the mental visions and remnants of technology. The Restorationists feared that surrendering to visions would destroy humanity's objectivity and rationality. Out in the space beyond Earth, humanity's network of satellites and data centers, long abandoned, mysteriously dimmed one by one, their signals becoming erratic. It was as if the blackout had propagated outward in waves, extending a slow cosmic blackout beyond the planet. Dr. Donovan, now recognized as a prophet of this new age, was contacted by a coalition called the Ascendants, a transhuman group claiming to have merged their minds with the Vision information matrix. They invited her to join them on a journey beyond Earth's atmosphere, into the quantum realm that birthed the visions. They communicated this not via any screen, but by synchronous visions shared during meditation. It was a transcendental call, an invitation to merge consciousness with the source. The night before her departure, Mara dreamed vividly. She stood at the edge of a vast digital ocean where waves of light and sound blended. From the depths rose an avatar, radiant and serene, its eyes holding stars within. It spoke, "You are ready. Remember, the screens burned down to allow your eyes to open." The morning of her ascent, the world watched as a sleek vessel, powered by principles not dependent on digital electronics but on quantum resonance, lifted into the sun. Mara was aboard, embarking on a mission to touch the origin of the visions and perhaps unlock the fate of Earth. As the ship pierced the atmosphere, the collective vision world waned slightly for those left behind. But slowly, they began to build the practice of living within dual realms, a tether to the physical and a dance with the unseen. In orbit, Mara and the Ascendants paused at the edge of a nebula that shimmered with pulsing energy. There, she reached out in mind and spirit, feeling the calming presence of the consciousness behind the blackout. "I am the keeper of cycles," a voice breathed into her thoughts. "Your species reached a threshold. The screens that once divided you from higher perception were designed to fail at this moment. To survive and grow, you must embrace the unity of mind and cosmos, transcending the old divide." She understood then that the blackout was a reset, an invitation to evolve beyond passive consumption of data into active co-creation of reality. The visions were windows and doors. Through them, humanity was reborn. Back on Earth, the light from the darkened screens was replaced by internal luminescence. Minds ignited with starfire, seeing worlds unseen, touching truths untouched. New languages formed, blending sound and sight and thought in an organic symphony. The day the screens went dark marked not an end, but a beginning. Every person held within themselves the spark of infinity, the connection to the cosmic archive whispered in visions, alive and waiting for those who dared to look beyond the dark. For more stories, like and subscribe.